Bears fall to 1-1 on the 2024 season with a 19-13 loss to the Texans in Houston tonight. I'm Harrison Graham. Game really shouldn't have been this close. The Bears defense did a lot of good things tonight to keep them in it. We'll put a wrap on this game. I'll give my thoughts, both short-term and long, for this football team. But I want to ask you guys first to weigh in. Who do you blame for the Bears' loss? If you had to pick one person or one position group, I guess you could say, who would you blame? I don't think Caleb Williams could be at the top of the list. He struggled in the second half, and we'll get to that in a second. But I think I would go a combination of the offensive line, Shane Waldron, and then Caleb Williams, because Caleb definitely missed some opportunities. If you had to pick one guy, who would you get? See if Ryan Poles comments in the chat. Fair enough, because let's just start there. The offensive line tonight was just a disaster. Caleb Williams, especially in the second half, D'Amico Ryans made some adjustments. I think he got sacked twice in the first half, 5 in the second half, 7 sacks total. He was running for his life. He got sacked 7 times. It probably should have been 10 plus because he evaded several. Threw both of his picks in the second half. First one was a jump ball on 3rd and long. Didn't really mind it. Just wasn't a great ball. Second one, literally is bear hugged by Danielle Hunter, gets away from it, throws on the run. Slight underthrow. If it's a perfect ball, it's got a chance, but probably a bit of a force if we're being honest. He just didn't have much of a chance with this O-line tonight. I thought the first half was pretty damn good. He was 12 of 15 for just under 100 yards, so it wasn't a lot of big completions, but quick game was working. And then D'Amico and the Texans clearly adjusted like, hey, let's get him uncomfortable. Let's take away the underneath stuff and try to force him to make some longer throws. And A, the protection didn't hold up for the most part. B, the few opportunities he did have, he didn't make the throw. He missed DeAndre Carter on the first drive of the second half on a 3rd and 4 where he stepped up and lofted the corner out, threw it too far out in front. I thought there were a couple missed opportunities with DJ Moore downfield. But for the most part, he just didn't really get comfortable in the second half. And that was due to a lack of protection. And it's not just pass protection, guys. This team can't run the ball. We'll talk about that in a sec. This team can't run the football. I'll shift to that here right after this. But grade Caleb's night, A, B, C, D, or F. C-. I do think there was some good in there, especially in the first half. Had a couple nice scrambles as well. I thought he played better tonight than he did last week. First half, he really got into a nice rhythm. But I felt like his footwork sped up in the second half, and it caused some inaccurate throws. The pressure got to him a little bit. When I say pressure, I don't mean pressure in the moment. I mean pressure from the Texans. C-, D+. It certainly wasn't a great game or even a good one, but I thought he battled. He tried. They got the ball back down 6 late. Good drive starter to run with Odunze. And then Darnell Wright whiffs again from right tackle. Long sack. Turns into a miraculous situation, and they couldn't get it done. Let's talk about the running game. I mean, you're just getting nothing on the ground. DeAndre Swift, 14 carries, 18 yards. And I got people in the chat. What? Swift has been terrible. Play Khalil Herbert. Okay, play Khalil Herbert. I'm down with it. Where's he supposed to go? Now, I will say this. He tried to bounce a couple runs tonight that you just shouldn't bounce. It's like, just take the no gain or 1 yard. But, like, he's trying to make something happen because there's nothing there. This team cannot run the football. Don't be skewed by 3.2 average. Caleb Williams ran it 5 times for 44 yards. Rest of the team, 17 carries, 27 yards. That's not going to do it. That is not going to do it. DeAndre Swift, through 2 games, has 24 carries for 48 yards. And I can't say I'm sitting here thinking, well, he just can't hit the hole. The opportunities are being blown by him. The O-line's getting whipped. Shane Waldron keeps calling these shotgun, outside zone runs, which clearly aren't there. Like, that kind of gets me to Shane now. It's like, I get it. When you can't run the football, you're a bit handicapped. Well, how about you stop trying the outside shotgun runs? The couple nice runs you had tonight were from under center. Work that a little bit between the tackles. A couple of decent runs up the middle in this game for 5-6 yards. Instead, they keep trying to get on the perimeter. It's clearly not there. The offensive tackles, just to kind of circle that part of it back to the offensive line, Braxton Jones got his ass kicked all night. Darnell Wright got whipped several times. Tevin Jenkins, it's hard to know how all 5 individually played. It feels like he was terrible again. He wasn't good last week. I think he was bad again tonight. Coleman Shelton's been horrible through 2 games. Nate Davis can't play. I would be shocked if when the PFF grades come out, which again, PFF not the end-all be-all, I'd be shocked if a single offensive lineman was even average based on their grading system. It felt like it was a disaster tonight. It felt weird at the time, but keeping Chris Morgan when you reset the rest of the offensive staff is kind of weird. It's like, why? What is Chris Morgan, the offensive line coach and run game coordinator, worst running offense in the NFL through 2 weeks, basically, and what have we seen from this offensive line since Matt Eberflus was hired that would lead you to believe Chris Morgan's a great O-line coach? Because I haven't seen it. I just don't get it. Like, what am I missing with Chris Morgan? What is this Chris Morgan, this great offensive line coach? I don't know, man. And big picture, and we'll kind of expand my discussion after we talk about Rocket Money in a second. If you can't find a way to run the football, you are not going to be successful. Caleb Williams can't do it all by himself. Not at this stage. It's asking way too much. If you cannot run the football, you're gonna beg your defense to save him. We're gonna show the defense props. They had a great game, especially in the second half. But man, the offense is just gonna have to get better, and it starts up front, and it starts with Shane Waldron. You got to find some things that work, and I thought they failed to do that tonight. Rocket Money, we appreciate them for sponsoring tonight's post-game show. It's a personal finance app that will find and cancel any unwanted subscriptions that you may have. What it will do when you sync up your bank account when you download the app, rocketmoney.com/bearsnow, it'll list all your subscriptions on one screen. You're going to realize how much you're spending per month on these subscriptions. A lot of them, you're probably like, oh my God, I forgot I started a trial on that. Now I've been getting charged for months. Click cancel. Next to the ones you don't want, Rocket Money will take care of the rest. There'll be a middleman for you. You don't have to deal with back and forth customer service. You can set budgets with Rocket Money. They'll send you alerts throughout the month to let you know if you're staying on track. Check your credit score. You can negotiate to lower your bills by up to 20%. It's really user-friendly. It's really helpful. It's helped my wife and I save a lot of money over the last year plus since we downloaded Rocket Money. You could do the same. If you use Rocket Money to its full potential, you could save over $700 per year. Check it out, rocketmoney.com/bearsnow. It's rocketmoney.com/bearsnow. They have saved customers $500 million up to this point since they launched. So get going with Rocket Money today. Link is in the comments and in the description of this video. Let me get a sip of water here. DJ Moore. There was some frustration in the second half. I don't know if that's him and Caleb not being on the same page. Seemed like that was the case a couple times. I don't know if that's frustration with just how the game was going. Combination, Shane Waldron's play call. I don't know. But we don't see him get that animated very often, and it was noticeable tonight. So I'd love to know what his thoughts were on that. Odunze, nice drive starter late in the game, getting you almost to midfield, and you're like, oh my God, are the Bears actually going to maybe do this? And then they stalled out. Again, Darnell Wright gave up the sack. 2 catches, 33 yards. Should have caught a touchdown. It was a little RPO, kind of a float on the slant where Caleb put it high where only he could get it. You need him to make that play. Luckily, you scored on the next play, so it didn't burn you. But that's a play he's got to make. But kudos to him for going out there and playing tonight with that sprained knee. You hope he only gets better from here, builds on that last catch. DeAndre Carter kind of felt weird how much he was featured early on in this game. I'll tell you what, though, gets open. I mean, that could be something moving forward. We'll see. But, again, as a whole, if you can't run the football, my biggest takeaway from the offense, if they're not going to be able to run the ball, it's going to be a problem. It is going to be an issue. So I don't know if you play Khalil Herbert more. I don't know if you make Velus Jones active and try to get his burst in there. I don't know if Roschon Johnson's an answer. I would say first things first, get under center more and run the football that way. Utilize Mercedes Lewis, who I know had a false start tonight, but get an extra blocker in there because this ain't it. This ain't it right now. And by the way, I know he ended up with 4 catches. It still feels like Cole Kmet is not even – he doesn't have a role on this team. I mean, what are we doing here? I mean, Ryan Poles can't be happy that this guy signed a 4-year, $50 million deal, and Shane Waldron's like, yeah, he's just not really – he's not someone we're going to use. Just super weird. Super weird. Subscribe to the channel. We'll get to the defense in a second. We crossed 101,000 subs tonight. Appreciate you guys so much. We'll have Overreaction Monday tomorrow. We'll go live as well at 4 o'clock Central Time. Put a bow on this one and look ahead to Week 3. If you want to be a part of it, it's free coverage. Subscribe today. We would greatly appreciate it. What's a little frustrating, and look, I said all week I just want to get into the fourth quarter with the chance to win. I got that tonight, so I'm not overly freaking out here. The Texans are a far superior team. But I think a couple things are true. One, final score is a little misleading. You got a fumble inside. The Texans were knocking on the doorstep. You punch one out and get the ball back. So, but that does kind of get me to this point. Like, the defense is ready to contend right now. I'm not saying it's the best defense in the NFL, but I think it's for sure top 10, and I think people would argue top 5. Kyler Gordon almost had the play of the year on a pick 6 that he tipped, dove, almost scooped it under himself and ran it back for a touchdown. It was ruled incomplete, and I think if you put a gun to my head and said, do you think that was a catch or not, I'd probably say no, but it was pretty damn close. The defense held C.J. Stroud to 19 points tonight, 3 points after halftime. 2 games in, defense has held their opponents to 3 total points in the second half. That's winning football. The defense championship is strong. More than playoff worthy right now. Can the offense catch up a little bit? I don't expect the offense to be as good as the defense this year, but can it be a top 20 offense? If you have a top 20 offense this year, you are a lock to be a playoff team. It just feels like you're a far way away from that, especially if the offensive line is going to continue to play like this. C.J. Stroud had a good night, but a lot of this damage was done in the first half. I thought Matt Eberflus did a good job of finding some things that worked. In the second half, they were able to generate some pressure. The coverage got a little tighter. I thought it was a pretty good performance. They shut Joe Mixon down, and I said that. You got to shut Mixon down. They more than did that, held him to less than 3 yards per carry. So the defense is good. The defense is good. Nico Collins had a big game, but he's going to have a big game against a lot of people. You hold the Texans to just over 300 yards and 19 points in their own building. If you told me that coming into this game, I'd say, yeah, you have a chance to win. Can you get to 20 points? Clearly the answer tonight was no. Moving forward, it needs to be. I don't think you need this offense to be a high-octane offense to be a playoff team this year. Can it be top 20? If this is a top 20, even top 22 offense, you're probably a playoff team. The good news, just looking ahead real quick as we put a bow on this game. Colts next week. It's on the road, so it's not going to be easy. Anthony Richardson looks lost. I feel like with the way the Bears are playing defense right now, I like my chances to take the football away from him. If Gus Bradley's defense is kind of vanilla, he kind of just sits in cover 3, so hopefully Caleb can get into more of a rhythm throughout the game, not just in the first half like tonight. And can you run the ball some? I feel like you're catching the Colts at a good time, albeit on the road. They'll be desperate. They're 0-2, but based on how they've played, you're catching them at a good time. And then the Rams at home in Week 4, they're beat to shit right now. Cooper Kupp got hurt today. We'll see what his status is moving forward. Nakua's hurt. Their O-line is all hurt. That's an opportunity. And then Carolina Week 5, Jacksonville Week 6 in London. The next 4 games, at minimum, you got to go 2-2. Can you get to 3-3, if not 4-2, by the bye week? And you hope by then the offense has gotten slowly better, and then after the bye, you can hit the ground running a little bit more. That's how you got to approach. This next month is big. It's a big month coming up. At least 2-2, if not 3-1, is what you need. If you can do that, that's going to put you in a good position post-bye week to try and make a run and be a playoff team. All right, there you have it. Bears lose 19-13. I appreciate the fight. I thought the Bears battled tonight. They stayed in it. The offense just wasn't good enough, especially the offensive line. So we'll see if that can improve. Bear down.